Hello there and welcome. It is with genuine delight that we acknowledge your company as we blaze the trail on tonight's installment of the news in English on Canal International. Of course, we're broadcasting live from our studios in Central Douala. First, the headlines bearing the vocal insignia of Kejang Henry Atembe.
Horror in Bamenda following the assassination of Elekam's Jakiri branch manager. This umpteenth assassination comes on the heels of the convening of the electorates for the senatorial election. Consternation as training fee for driving schools double in Cameroon. Would-be learners lament, saying this amount is a lifetime saving. Welcome to the 6:50 news with Ntariki Divine, Ramsey Jr.
Thanks once again for keeping the date. And we take off from Bamenda in the northwest region, where trickling reports indicate an uptick in the cases of violence and targeted killings. The latest case in point concerns the shooting to death Wednesday of Eufela Gilbert and John Fye, both senior officials with the elections management body Elecam. Stephanie Chin, Annie Collins.
Whereas there has been a calm atmosphere in Bamenda for some months now after years of violence, the population of the Northwest Regional Capital are surprised with the latest spate of killings this mid-January 2023.
God shot!
This is the GBTTC street in Bamenda 3 subdivision, where the Elekam Council head for Jakiri in Bui division, Eufela Gilbert Tante, was shot to death on Wednesday evening as early as 7 p.m.
I didn't even know when my husband opened the door again. I went out that he wants to board the gate so that maybe they're still around. As I was following him out, I saw those guys driving out with the car. My husband was just there pleading there. As he was standing there, I was trying to call him that no, he should come back and leave them. To my greatest surprise, I just remember the gunshot.
Asked whether he could be indebted to anyone, the now widow Patricia does not seem to have any idea.
None that I know of. I don't know of anyone. I don't know of anyone. No.
After the act, the two assailants who came on a motorbike also drove away with the victim's car. By the time our reporters left the residence before 10 a.m. this Thursday, security forces had not yet set foot on the crime scene. Meanwhile, the divisional delegate for the same Elekam for Momo has also been killed at his New Road residence in Bamenda 3 this Thursday morning. Reports say Kayi John Fye was beaten to death by an angry crowd after a young man caught red-handed breaking into a house, allegedly confessed, usually selling stolen items to the Elekam senior official. Barely 2 days ago, a trader was whisked off from his shop at the popular Mobile Nkwen at about 7:45 p.m. by armed men on motorcycle, and when he resisted on the way to an unknown destination, he was shot and reportedly died in the hospital. The very evening, gunmen dropped a man from their motorbike at the Behindshire public stand tab in Bamenda 2 and opened fire on him before riding off on top speed. The young man later died on the spot from his wounds. It is not clear if this inaugural violence for 2023 is in any way related to the announced senatorial elections.
Rather unfortunate developments indeed. Meanwhile, ahead of the Senate elections slated for March the 12th this year, the Minister of Territorial Administration, that's Minister Paul Atanganji, is inviting organizations interested in observing the polls to submit applications before a February 20 deadline. Any interested organizations must show proof of their legal existence, a list and IDs of the observers they intend to deploy, copies of their observations of previous elections in Cameroon, amongst others. International observers are invited to additionally be in possession of mission orders, round-trip air tickets, medical and repatriation insurances, as well as show proof of sufficient resources for the mission. And now off to the capital Yaoundé, where the morgues are increasingly overcrowded with unclaimed corpses, and a recent decision by the director of the Yaoundé General Hospital imposing a 50,000 franc penalty for unclaimed corpses or delays in the removal of such is stirring controversy. Beatrice Ngamo went out questioning. She came back with these clarifications.
The Yaoundé Central Hospital mortuary saturated, not enough space for dead bodies. The freezing chambers have corpses for years and months. We have 54 abandoned corpses over a year. According to a prefectural law, any corpse after 120 days is considered abandoned. An example is the corpse of one lady now, 3,191 days as of April 2014. Her case falls under the category identified as abandoned due to family contest. This other, unidentified and unclaimed category, the big challenge to every mortuary management, especially cases of accidents, gunshot wounds on criminals, trauma foreigners, etc. The reason for abandoning corpses, some families claim, is the cost attached to it. Hospital bills, mortuary fees, the cost of burial, the circumstances of death, especially someone the family had wished dead long ago, some relatives are not aware, and more. The long period of piling upon piling in mortuary freezer chambers, really awful years, but the risk of contamination, the worst. The situation is often a common barrier, mass grave for all. The senior divisional officer from Fundi, here in Yaoundé, is the head of the commission in charge of that process. But this is done after the list with names of death is published for a period of 1 month.
La dernière liste que nous avons publiée a fait plus de 3 semaines en espérant que les familles puissent venir identifier certains qui sont sur la liste. À ce jour, nous n'avons personne qui est passé.
The public is called upon to understand that the only right a dead person has is at least a decent burial.
And now on to something else, because if you're one of those planning to take up lessons in driving, then you may be up for an unpleasant surprise. Sourced information indicates that driving schools across the country have raised the cost of the tuition from 150 to 250,000 CFA francs. Sherifa Saleh went out finding, and she came back with this.
8 years ago, Cameroon's Transport Office had changed driving school apprenticeship period from 3 months to 4 months. This was to avoid low-quality training skills not respected by all driving schools. Driving school promoters agreed on putting it on practice as the year 2023 began.
Plus de 250,000.
This amount, 250,000 francs, is in relation to the official hourly quota imposed on driving schools. There were a lot of debates at the beginning. We wanted to put the amount at 400,000 francs because we inquired from other African countries. We've taken into account the expensive cost of living for Cameroonians.
One of the resolutions taken at the end of their general meeting on December 2022 was to agree on 250,000 francs for training to obtain the B license to cover up expenses within the 4 months, which according to the National President for Driving School Promoters, Nga Misobo, might increase 3 years from now. Many Cameroonians discouraged given the present hard economy.
People were spending more because when you pay 50,000 francs and you were given 10 hours of lessons. At the end of the day, you were given a vehicle. You couldn't drive, and you came back to the driving school to pay for retraining.
With life that has become so expensive, it wouldn't be easy. Someone like me, it doesn't encourage me. 4 months of apprenticeship will consist of 40 hours of theoretical lessons and 20 hours of practical lessons. By so doing, quality driving skills shall be obtained.
Now, experts warn that the propagation of hate speech and related fake news across social media platforms is enjoying a potentially dangerous boom in Cameroon. In bids to nip the trends in the bud, the government is planning to recruit 1,000 young people to tackle the rising phenomenon. Here is Hyacinth Jia with a study on its feasibility.
They have started filing in their applications to serve as electronic volunteers, if selected among the 1,000 young Cameroonians, to embark on online campaign against violence, fake news and hate speech spread over the social media.
The youths are the most who occupy the social medias, and when they go there, they are more apt. They will have enough material, they will have what it takes for them to intervene on social media and counteract or fight against hate speech.
The initiative by the Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Monuna Fosso, under the instructions of the head of state, is baptized Patriots of the Social Media, will see the selection of youths capable of preaching the moral values.
The criteria for selection is clear in the tender documents. The youths are Cameroonians who, with goodwill and who are ready to fight hate speech.
But according to some civil society activists, the drive has been wrongly calculated and may not yield the expected results.
I feel that there are better ways to empower young persons. As a civil society actor, I accept that there's abuse in social media use, and we risk even increasing the use of hate speech if the people we are recruiting are not better trained. I want just to advise that it should be motivated by the need to serve the Cameroonian people, and not motivated by political gains.
The 1,000 youths will be expected to craft enough sensitization messages and constantly circulate them on their different handles of the social media to redress wayward users.
Now, over 1,000 sales agents with the horse race betting outfit PMUC have received pats on their backs as well as envelopes in terms of rewards from their management. We gather that after performing far beyond expectations, the administration of the company decided to dole out this sum, 35 million CFA francs, to compensate them. Kejang Henry now says the broadest smiles came from Yaoundé.
1,049 PMUC service personnel, sales agents, sales managers, trainers and supervisors have been awarded for the exceptional contribution following the introduction of a new concept dubbed Champions League of Service Personnel. I think it is a genuine compensation for sales agents. Mind you, this is not the first time. This is the 3rd edition where PMUC is compensating hard work. Launched on November 2022 and running through December 31st, same year, the sales performance puzzle was opened to all personnel of PMUC sales network. It is a feeling of joy and satisfaction. I thank the administration of PMUC for the strength to get to this point. It is with utmost joy and satisfaction and, of course, encouragement for us. We thank our bosses. We asked them to continue with this challenge. It was not easy for us, however, we succeeded to give our best. Thanks once more to the administration. The Personal Championship League is based on the turnover generated by a cluster of PMUC Group products. And to that effect, Yaoundé braced the trio with a double success, winning 20,555,000 francs. However, it was all joy for this sales agent who single-handedly distinguished herself, winning 10 million francs alone. She was celebrated.
I thank the administration of PMUC. I am extremely indebted thanks 1,000 times.
Douala won 5,105,000 francs. Bafoussam harvested 6,630,000 francs. Marwa won 1,255,000 francs, while Garoua won 1,455,000 francs. Today, we are handing over 35 million francs across the country. 10 million francs, as you can see, to the big winner in Yaoundé. As a reminder, every Sunday we have an international banco of 325 million francs CFA. Once every month, we have an international banco of 650 million francs and a super international banco of 2 billion francs. The impressive success of the sales point game is based on the endurance of the sales agents, good customer relationship, team spirit, dynamism, and above all, a mastery of the personal portfolio.
Now, life has regained steam at the Mbanga Bakoko neighborhood out here in Douala, where inhabitants went for over 2 years without potable water. The neighborhood and its inhabitants bordering the Zapoma Stadium have been rejoicing since yesterday when technicians from the Cameroon Water Utilities, Cam Water, reconnected their pipes to the main trunk. Kejang Henry once again.
After living in limbo for more than 2 years without potable water, residents of Mbanga Bakoko in Douala are once more reconnected to the network. And now the heater to dry taps are running. It is all happiness. We are happy to have water because we have suffered a lot. Imagine an old man like me has to cover kilometers to fetch water. Today we are really happy. We now understand that the new general manager of Cam Water is doing a good job. Our only wish is to see this situation sustainable and not only limited to Mbanga Bakoko but in all the neighborhoods in Douala. Nuyap Catherine is a grandmother living with her son in this agglomeration. Her greatest problem was to get water on a permanent basis as they have depended on boreholes for more than 2 years. When she was informed by officials of Camp Water of their home being reconnected to the network, she needed to prove it out.
I hope the job that you have done should be sustainable. I appreciate, and if the tap constantly runs, I'll be happy. All the women in this neighborhood were in difficulties. There was no water. We could spend months without water. I want to thank Cam Water for a job well done.
It's been sleepless nights for engineers of Cam Water to carry out works on the damaged trunk. And by the ethical charter of Cam Water, which is necessity to public service commitment and performance, the new administration, under the leadership of Blaise Musa, quickly provided the necessary financial and material means needed.
Suite aux réclamations des clients,
following complaints from customers, the general manager instructed us to take all necessary measures to arrest the situation. The necessary financial and material means were provided. We've rehabilitated the network, reinforced the capacity, and carried out repairs. With more than 500 subscribers reconnected in Mbanga Bakoko, Cam Water has one message for them.
We are in Mbanga
Bakoko. We have reconnected the entire Mbanga Bakoko zone. We invite all the subscribers who were disconnected from our network to come to us. Our commercial branch is in Nyala, about 200 meters from here. They should come back. We equally invite all those who were never connected to come. The procedures have been simplified for everyone. It's often said, water is life. So, Mbanga Bakoko is back to life.
And it's on that note that we call it quits for this edition of the news in English on Canal International. More news in French at 1950 with Alain Ghislain Kanga. In between, Lil Pijo takes the center stage right now on the debrief. Stay safe and see you tomorrow.